let's say a brief introduction about Sir. He is assistant professor in G.V. Waghela College, Vakha, and he is also alumni of our institute. He did his graduation from Sri and Srimati P.K. Kotawala Arts College, Patan. He completed his masters in ELT from H.M. Patel Institute of English Training and Research in the year 2015. He did his MPhil from Hemchandracharya North Gujarat University, Patan in 2016. Ahead, he enrolled himself for PhD in 2017 in HNGU Patan. He qualified GSET in English in 2018. He also qualified NET in English as well as GPSC Prelim for the Assistant Professor in English in 2019. He has been rendering his services as an Assistant Professor in G.V. Waghela Arts and Commerce College, Vakha since July 2015. I welcome you, sir, on behalf of the IQSC principal, sir, and all the students of H.M. Patel Institute of English Training and Research, and invite you to deliver your speech. Let me say something about sir. He is ideal guru for many students, and according to Jignesh, sir, a thing of beauty is a reading forever. And when his camera on, you can see books behind books behind him. It proves that he is voracious reader. He is ideal guru for me. Over to Jignesh, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Maya, for this wonderful introduction. Uh, I am not an expert, but I'm a teacher in a in a college which is situated in a rural area, and I have the experience of teaching for 5 years. So, coming to the point, but before I start discussion on the topic that I have chosen for the discussion, I would really uh, like to be grateful to the principal of the college, H.M. Patel Institute, N.V. Bose sir, Anil Varsad sir, Mayur sir, Dodia sir, Manas sir, madam, and to the students for giving me this opportunity to share my ideas with you. Thank you again. The topic of the discussion today is teaching English. I hope you can see the slide.
Yes, we
Okay.
can.
Actually, I was to speak orally without slide, but Monas sir asked me whether you have prepared the PPT or are you going to present orally. So I thought of making PPT. That would be kind of helpful to the students as well as for me. Okay. So the topic is teaching English in rural Gujarat, problems and prospect. I would be specifically speaking on teaching English to the students of North Gujarat. And specifically in the college where I teach, the students come from very rural background. Okay, so the problems, actually the topic is the one which could not be spoken on without a thorough research. So before 3 days, I haven't done any research, but there are some of the teachers who are in my contact serving in some schools and some colleges. I talked to them on call and inquired about the difficulties that they face while teaching English to the students of rural area. When we say teaching English to the students of rural area, it is to the students of second language. Okay, mostly in Gujarat, except the CBSE schools. in some of the English medium schools, English is taught as the second language. And so is the case with Hindi. But we learn Hindi and we face difficulties in learning English. Okay. Why the situation is so? My focus would be on that. So the major problem as a teacher I face and I have been facing is the first is the large classes. In a college where I teach, we have a class of more than 200 students. Sometimes the number of students exceeds 300. Okay, so it's a quite large class, and while dealing with the students, the one problem that any teacher would face is his voice should be audible to the student sitting on the last bench. Okay, and in some of the colleges or the situation is such in colleges, the situation could be better in schools, because in schools we have limited strength of students in the class. But when it comes to college, the number of students are quite bigger. Okay, so when a teacher tries to speak very loudly, he could not deliver the entire lecture in that way. Okay, and what happens is when a teacher tries to write something on the board, so as soon as the teacher's attention is diverted from the students, they start making noise. So large class is the biggest problem so far as higher education is concerned. And when the class is big, the students, the number of students in the class is higher. The second problem arises is heterogeneousness of the student. There are students who come from completely rural background. We can say the first generation students of English. Okay, by the word first generation, I mean that the parents of the students are completely illiterate, like that of mine. My parents are illiterate, they are completely illiterate. So the parents cannot help the students at their home in learning so far as English language is concerned. Okay, so there are students who belong to the first generation of English. There are students whose parents are in a way literate, so they can help their children at home to learn. And there are students who come from English medium or urban areas, not even though not from English medium, they come from very good schools of cities, of urban areas. So a teacher finds variety of students in the class, and without knowing, trying to teach students without knowing the level of students, the heterogeneousness that lie in the student, it would be not advisable. Okay, so as a teacher, one has to do kind of a survey or kind of needs analysis, or while teaching, a teacher has to move in the class. Generally, what I do is, while I teach something, I speak it orally. Sometimes I write it on board. Then I move in the class. I see the notes of students, what they are writing, right? And sometimes I speak orally and try to make them write what I speak. And by moving and by observing the things, I come to know, I realize that what the level of students is. Okay, so for that, I divide the students into different groups and also start remedial teaching in extra hours. That is what I do to address the problem of heterogeneous class. Okay, the number three, the third problem or the challenge, we can say, is the lack of clear-cut policies. Government, it seems that government is in mood of experimenting with various policies in education. It constantly keeps on changing policies. And on the other side, on the side of teachers, a kind of mismatch is seen. What is written there in the policy is altogether different from what is practically implemented in the class. Okay, so the mismatch should not occur when it comes to teaching, because policy may offer some instructions which may not be followed by the teachers, because there are some teachers who believe in following the method with which they are comfortable. So that mismatch should also be taken care of. And the most significant or the most challenging issue is the dearth of qualified teachers. Actually, I should have used the word competent teacher rather than qualified teachers. We in Gujarat lack the number of good teachers. In most of the schools, even in colleges, the recruitment of the teacher is not done. So a teacher has to address the number of more students. Okay, and the second thing is the recruitment is based on merit. So when it comes to merit-based recruitment, there arises certain problems, because there are some students who perform very well when it comes to theory, right? But they are not good at performing something. They are not good at oral skills. And for being a teacher, the first thing that a teacher should have is the good oral skill. A teacher should be able to articulate his ideas in a very well manner, right? So the recruitment, if it is done on the basis of merit, it creates kind of problems. I personally feel, and I have taken the reviews of some of the teachers as well, that the recruitment should be done on the basis of these productive skills. Not only the receptive skills should be checked, but the productive skills should also be checked, okay, while recruiting the teachers. The next problem is lack of exposure. I have, based on my experience and based on my oral survey, I could say that the students lack exposure to the English language. Okay. First of all, we should be very clear that exposure to language is very much needed if one wants to learn language, and that if teacher wants to teach the language. Okay, because in my primary education, secondary education, I never saw a teacher who could speak something in English. So a kind of, and teachers, in most of the cases, teachers do not motivate the students to listen to English, to read something in English, because they do not read. Okay, the teachers do not keep themselves updated. As soon as they get job, they think that their job is over now. Even in my area, when some people or some guests come to my house, when they find me reading, they ask me a very simple question, and a very frequent question rather, that now you are a teacher, why do you read? Now you have become a teacher. Now, why do you read? And I simply answer them that my job begins now. After becoming a teacher, reading becomes must. So a teacher can only inspire the students to if he himself or herself reads. If teacher does not read, how can he inspire the students? Okay. So the lack of exposure to English language is at such level that when I observe the students writing in their notebooks, when I speak something orally, they do not have the sense of capitalization. They do not know when to capitalize particular letter in the sentence. I simply ask them to write, for example, write the name Mitesh. Then when I observe the notes of the students, some students do not capitalize the letter M of Mitesh, and some students capitalize the letter T of Tesh. Okay, so even after passing HSC, when they come to college, their level is such low. So and they are in English. They choose their subject English for their graduation. So teach to such students is quite difficult task. Uh, the next point or the next challenge is that failure in creating environment. Sometimes we as teachers fail in creating an environment where students feel free to ask, where students feel free to speak something, right? So the failure in creating environment is the major cause or barrier when it comes to teaching. So I will talk about the prospects in later slides. The next point is we have the faulty examination system, because when as a teachers we teach the students only pay attention to what we teach when we say that this topic is very important from the point of view of your exam, from the point of view of your university exam. Okay, the mindset of the student needs to be changed, and the teaching, uh, examination oriented teaching should also be changed. And I talked to one of my friends who teaches in CBSE school, and he said that 30% weightage is given to the oral skills, and 70% weightage is given to the written skills or theoretical things. So that is a quite good thing, because they are checking the oral skills of the students as well. So when it is implemented in Gujarat government schools, Gujarati medium schools, that could work very well uh, uh, for the results. Okay. And the next point that I think and I have personally felt, and some of my school teachers told me to highlight, is that the students' hatred for English language. When we enter the class, when we start speaking something in English, it is not more than 2 to 3 sentences, and some students or one student from the class would say, "Sir, Gujarati ma bolo." So kind of fear is there in the students, as well as kind of hatred for English language is there in the students. And for that, what can we do? I will talk on that. Okay. The next point is one of the teachers of mine highlighted is in India, in Gujarat specifically, we teach 4 languages. So more than 3 languages are taught in primary and secondary schools. We have Gujarati as a mother tongue. We have Hindi as a second language, English as a second language, and then Sanskrit. So students, he believed that the students could not focus on English because of the languages, more than 3 languages being taught to them at the same time. So I don't know to what extent, I'm not sure to what extent this question is relevant, this challenge is relevant, but research could be done on it. And another thing is bilingualism. And into bracket, I have written to what extent. Teachers using Gujarati language, the mother tongue, okay, in Gujarat to teach the students. But the question is to what extent. And the same is the question with audiovisual tools. For example, let me give you the examples of example of PPT, PowerPoint presentation. Okay, so PowerPoint presentation should be used in teaching. Audiovisual tools should be used in teaching, but to what extent is really a question. It arises 2 questions, whether it be bilingual method or it be about using audiovisual tools. 2 questions, whether the teachers are using mother tongue because it is really required, and whether the teachers mother tongue because they are not comfortable with the target language, that is English, because they need it. Teachers are using Gujarati in the class because they need it is a question, or because it is really required. That question should be kept in mind while teaching. Okay, some teachers very often teach through PPT. So is it really needed, or is it uh, uh, helpful to the teacher, or it reduces the work of teacher? That's a question. Now coming to prospect, the first point that I highlighted was large class. So the strength of class should be reduced to 30 students to 35 or maximum 40. So a teacher can pay attention to each student. Uh, uh, but when the number of student increases, when the classes are larger than expected, than ideal, it becomes a mammoth task for a teacher to deal with, right? So the second point is when homogeneousness is there in the students, when students come from different region, having different understanding of language, having different level of language, a kind of need analysis should be done, and based on that a remedial teaching could be done. While I was in HM Patel pursuing my masters, I used to go to Nalini Arvind Arts College for remedial teaching. Phalguni ma'am is there in Nalini, and they used to do remedial teaching for the students of different level according to the requirement of the students. Uh, if at higher education and as well as in schools, if the teachers do it it would be kind of good step towards the students community. The third point is we talk about clear-cut policies. We lack good policies. So teachers community may urge to the government for the good policies of education, right? That can be done, and whatever the policies are, it should be checked whether they are implemented properly or not, because uh, however good policy the government makes, right, but it is entirely upon the teachers whether they want to implement it or not, whether they are open to the new policies, or whether they stick to their old methods, right? In schools, I have observed, as well as in colleges I have observed that lecturing method is used. It is H.M. Patel Institute of English Training and Research where I saw the classes which are communicative classes, where students get opportunities to present their ideas, to express their ideas. The students are uh, given the real life situations, and they are asked to perform something or do some activities on it. And that is really a good thing about H.M. Patel. And this is not done in most of the institutions. There could be, I am not denying that it is only H.M. Patel that is working better. There could be some institutions which might be working well, but there are many in which only lecturing method is used. When I say method, we generally, in North Gujarat, teachers generally use grammar translation method, and which is the first method ever given by these English people, right? After that, many method came. I am not saying that grammar translation method is not good, but at times, not all methods are uh, effective, and at times we cannot overlook any method. So whichever method is appropriate according to the student's requirement should be used. This is what I personally feel. Okay. Next point is the vacant positions in teaching should be filled with qualified teachers. There are some government colleges as well as grant-in-aid colleges where they do not have enough teachers to teach the students. So government should have the positive attitude towards education and should recruit the qualified teachers, right? And most of the time where we fail in doing our job is we should acquaint, as a teacher, we should acquaint the students with learning resources, right? As a teacher, when we read something new, we can acquaint our students with that work. We can take a book to the classroom, and we may give a brief introduction about the book to the students. By doing that, this is what I do. Students might get interested in reading that book. Okay. So this could be done. We can inspire students uh, to learn something, to listen to something, to read something. That could really work. The next point is creating fear-free environment where students actually utilize the language. When it comes to North Gujarat, we have a pin drop silence in the class. Most of the teachers expect the students to remain silent. And when this happens, the teacher's work gets reduced. The teachers don't have to update themselves regularly. They can do with the notes which were made some 10 years before or 15 years before. Okay, so the primary job of a teacher is to create fear-free environment where students feel free to speak, feel free to utilize the language. So kind of that environment can be created in the class. This point I have already addressed. Certain changes could be brought about in the examination system. The focus which is on marks, right, scoring good marks in exam could be shifted to
Jignesh sir, you are muted. Please unmute.
For how much time I am muted, sir?
Just for 30-40 seconds, not more than that.
Okay, sir, okay.
Yes.
So certain changes could be brought about in the examination system. Focus, which is entirely upon scoring good marks, could be shifted to acquiring good skills, soft skills. That would really be helpful for the students. Next is using mother tongue. Required not for the comfort of teachers but for the comfort of students, because when a class is a heterogeneous class, there would be the students of different level. So when teacher tries to use or teacher tries to speak thoroughly in English, the students whose level is very low may feel ignored in the class. So as per the requirement of the students, mother tongue could be used in the class. One of my teacher said that when I asked him a question that, sir, do you think that mother tongue should be used in second language classroom, right? Then he said that using mother tongue is not a sin. It is not a crime. Okay, but then he said this sin should not be committed very often. For the students' comfort, we may use or we may adopt the bilingual method, but the situation should not occur when the teacher is using most of the time Gujarati language or mother tongue. And when it happens, what happens is students learn mother tongue instead of learning the target language. Listening and reading should be given more importance. In HM Patel, listening and reading, these two skills, receptive skills, are given much significance, much importance. But when it comes to North Gujarat or in any rural area, these two skills are more overlooked skills. We know that there are 4 skills, LSRW. So listening comes first. There is, of course, a difference between learning and acquisition. And there is also an altogether process so far as learning and acquiring a language is concerned. But listening and reading plays vital role in acquiring or in learning language. The next point is teacher can become models for the students. When I say teacher can become model for the students, I would give you my example as up to my SSC, I did not see a single teacher who could speak something or some sentences in English through which he can or she can influence the students. Okay, so model teachers are very important. I have written the sentence here, very good sentence. Teachers' models are, but still rarer are છે ત્યાં R વધારાનો છે. Rarer are model teachers. Okay, so teacher could perform as a model when a teacher has a good command of language. He certainly influences the student. When I came in my higher education, fortunately I got a wonderful teacher of English who used to conduct the class thoroughly in English. Sometimes he used to use Gujarati, but most of the time he used to teach in English, using English. And by his speech, I got motivated, I got influenced, and I decided that I want to speak English like my teacher. So if as a teachers we can motivate the students, we can perform as role models for the students, that would be better. Here is Dr. Radhakrishnan's remarks. The chairman of the University Education Commission, right? He said, he emphasized the importance of English language. He said that English is a language which is rich in literature, humanistic, scientific, and technical. If under sentimental urges we give up English, we would cut ourselves off from living stream of ever-growing knowledge. Okay, so when we separated from Mumbai, right, when we got independence, we had some sentimental feelings, like why should we learn English? Because English is the language of our rulers who made us slave, who ruled us for more than 200 years. Why should we learn English? Radhakrishnan said that if under that feeling, if under that urge, if we do not learn English, we would cut ourselves off from the living stream of ever-growing knowledge. So this is what Dr. Radhakrishnan believed. Because when Britishers came to India, they came for the mere purpose of trading, and they were in need of the people who could perform as mediator. Because for trading, they needed the people who know the Indian languages as well as their language, so they can perform as the mediator, right? So they started teaching us English. We have Macaulay's Minute in which he said that the medium of instruction should be English, not the vernacular languages. And this is what also suggested by Rajaram Mohan Rai. But now English has become lingua franca, an international language. So English should not be overlooked. As Albert Einstein said, I do not teach anyone, I only provide the environment in which they can learn. So if the students do not learn the way we teach, why don't we teach them the way they learn? This is really a question to be addressed. Okay, so as a teachers, we can create the environment where students can learn. We don't need to teach them. They can learn on their own. So we can become the facilitators to the students. Okay, now if you have any questions, you can ask.
Students, if you have any question, you can ask. I think there is no question on student side. So, sir, thank you for
Yes,
this.
sir.
I request Masum Mansoori from semester 3 to give the vote of thanks. Masum.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir, for providing me with an propose a vote of thanks. So, thank you, Dr. Jignesh Patel, sir, for providing or presenting with our today's topic. It was a very informative topic, and as we are prospective teachers, and in future we might be provided with an opportunity to work and teach in such rural areas. So it was a very informative session, and it might prove helpful to us in our future work. So thank you again, sir, for presenting today and providing us with such information.
Thank
Also,
you
I would
for the
like to.
wonderful words. As you said, you are also teachers in the making, prospective teachers.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. I would also like to thank principal of our institute, Dr. N.V. Bose, sir, and our IQSC coordinator, Dr. Anil Asad, sir, for organizing such informative webinars. And I would also like to thank all our teachers and all of the teacher trainees that are present today and attended all those webinars. So I would like to thank you all. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Masum. So, friends,
sir.
yes, Jignesh, sir.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity. I am very grateful to Principal Sir, Dr. N.V. Bose Sir, to Anil Sir, the coordinator of IKE SC, and all the faculties of HM Patel, as well as the students for listening me.